Hi guys, I am making granola for Christmas. This is my Christmas granola. I just made this batch and I was going to make another one. I'm going to make another one to show you. It smells delicious. So if you want to gift this to someone, make sure that you make it on the same day that you're going to give it to someone or the next day, because I could eat all of this right now. It smells so good. So I'm going to reuse this parchment paper. So I'm going to just pour it into this bowl so you can see how pretty it is. See how pretty that is? And so it has cranberries, it has pecans, it has coconut. So you can mix and match whatever kind of seeds and things you want in there. I'm going to set that down and move this out of my way. So today I'm going to be using applesauce as part of my binder. You could use a nut butter. Sometimes I use sun butter. You could use almond butter, but you want it to be a natural one where it's just the sunflower seeds or just almonds or just peanut butter, and you want it to be the liquidy kind. If it's not liquidy or pourable, then you'll want to melt it because you want it to be able to stir into your nuts and seeds. The first thing I'm going to do is put my dry ingredients in my bowl. I want 1 cup of nuts. You could use just pecans or just almonds or just walnuts. I'm going to mix pecans and walnuts. Pecans because these are actually local where we live. There are lots of pecans. We have pecan trees on our property. And I'm going to do walnuts because they are so high in omega-3 fatty acids. So good for you. Now I am going to be heating them. And when you heat nuts and seeds, that can oxidize the fats, and so you could put these in a dehydrator and keep the temperature low so you're not going to oxidize them. So I want 1 cup of nuts, like I said, any kind of nuts, and I want 1 cup of seeds. So I'm going to be using sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds. Sunflower seeds are very easy to find. Now these are raw. I don't know if you can see those. They are raw. I keep them in the freezer. And raw pumpkin seeds, they say pepitas on them. You'll find them under the name pepitas. You can see they're green. They're a beautiful color. So I have 1 cup of seeds and 1 cup of nuts. And I'm going to add a cup of coconut. Now when you buy coconut, you want to make sure that it is unsweetened. You don't want any added sugars. This one is only organic unsweetened coconut. That's all you want. You don't want any other sugars or anything, or oils or anything like that in there. So I want 1 cup of coconut. There we go. So that's 3 cups of nuts and seeds. So I'm going to match that with 3 cups of oats. And once again, anytime you buy oats, make sure they are #1 organic. Bob's Red Mill has an organic. That one's usually easy to find. This one is Nature's Path, but you want to make sure it's organic, because if any grain, when they harvest them, they spray them to make them dry quickly so they can harvest them quickly. And so they don't sit out in the fields too long and get moldy and stuff like that. So you want to make sure that they are organic, otherwise they are sprayed. So I want 3 cups of the oats. 1, 2, and 3. I'm finishing my little canister here. There we go. So this is our nuts and seeds. I need to add some seasoning. So because it's Christmassy, whenever I think of Christmas, I think of cinnamon. So I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Something else I think about is ginger. Now the person I'm making this for does not like ginger, so I'm going to leave ginger out. But I would put maybe a half a teaspoon of ginger in there. Then I'm going to add a little bit of cardamom. If you don't have cardamom, then just leave it out. But just a little bit, maybe an 1/8 of a teaspoon, because it's pretty strong. That is just a really great Christmassy smell or flavor. A little bit of nutmeg. So this is a whole nutmeg. Can you see that? And I have this cute little nutmeg grater, and it just fits in there. I got this from Mountain Reserves. I love this little thing. And so when you have nutmeg, if you like eggnog, I love eggnog. I don't know if you saw, I posted a recipe for that somewhere. Anyway, a vegan eggnog, dairy-free, egg-free. Anyway, I'm going to put a little bit of nutmeg. Nutmeg goes a long way. Smells so good. And I want a little bit of allspice. So I don't know if you've ever seen an allspice berry. And these are the dried allspice berries. So allspice is not a mixture of spices. It smells fabulous. It smells like Christmas to me. And so I'm going to try not to grate my fingers and just grate this little allspice. You probably can find it ground in your store. I just like to buy the whole berries and put them in teas and things like that. This time of year, make a mulled cider or something with the allspice. Anyway, it just smells like Christmas. So yummy. You could add some clove in here. Like I said, you could add ginger. But I just have the cinnamon, the nutmeg, and the allspice. A little bit of cardamom. I'm going to put in 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then I'm just going to combine everything. I'm using the Himalayan pink salt. Alright, so I'm going to mix it all up. And depending on how you want your granola, so you can see this granola is pretty loose. It does have some clumps, but it's not very clumpy. Like here's a little cluster. If you want a lot of clusters, then you don't want to stir it halfway through. You want to just keep it in the dehydrator or in the oven. If you don't want the clusters, if you want to eat it like a cereal, more like this. See if I can show you what it looks like. That's more like a cereal. You pour milk over, or yogurt, or do a parfait or something. Then you'll stir it halfway through. It also can change how much moisture you put in there. So I'm using 1/4 cup of applesauce here. So what I do is I like to make my own applesauce, but even if I buy it, I put it in ice cube trays. And then when I want to make dishes like this, where I don't want to add a sweetener or a fat, a lot of recipes for granola use coconut oil. I would rather use applesauce or a nut butter. So use 1/4 cup. You could use applesauce if you wanted pumpkin spice. Do 1/4 cup of pumpkin puree. That'll work. Or use almond butter or sun butter or something like that. So I'm just going to use 1/4 cup of applesauce. I'm going to add 1/2 tablespoon, not going to measure, just eyeball, of blackstrap molasses. I'm going to show you a little trick. Sometimes, because it is so sticky, the lid will get stuck. You can put a little rubber band on there. Sometimes I just keep a rubber band on there because we don't use this too often. Put a rubber band on there and twist it, and then it's much easier to open. Now mine opened anyway, but just showing you. So I'm going to add 1/2 tablespoon. It's going to be a little slow as molasses, right? See if I can get it to come out. So blackstrap molasses is very high in minerals, especially iron. If you know someone who struggles with their iron levels, this is a good way to get a natural source of iron where they're not going to get too much. Taking iron supplements can be very difficult on the digestive tract. Okay, so about 1/2 tablespoon there, and about 1/4 cup of maple syrup. Now, if you want more clusters, once again, I'm not measuring, but about 1/4 cup. If you want more clusters, then add a little bit more maple syrup. Some people use honey. I know if you are vegan, you don't use honey, but you could do that. And so I am just blending this, and I'm going to pour it over my granola mixture here. I like the apple for Christmas time, the applesauce. But like I said, almond butter would have worked, sun butter would have worked. Peanut butter would be a little strong with these other spices. It would probably just overpower. Okay, so now I'm just going to stir it. It's going to stay pretty dry, but I'll show you what it looks like. Stir it all up. Let me know if you have any questions about any of the other ingredients. It smells so good already before I've even heated it up. Now I'm going to put mine in the oven at 325 for 15 minutes, and then I'm going to stir it and cook it for another 15 minutes because I want it to be more for cereal. We actually are going to have this over the Christmas holidays. We'll be doing some traveling at some point, and when we travel, I like to take something like this to have for either a breakfast or a parfait. If it's difficult to find something to get somewhere, this is great. I like to use a little silicone spatula here in a lot of my recipes. In a lot of my videos, I'm using these silicone spatulas. This is a Pampered Chef one that I've had for probably 20 years, I think. This one is just a fabulous spatula. I just want to make sure I'm getting everything together, and you can see it's clumping together. I've got some clumps there, and that's what you want. So here's what it looks like before I put it in. I'm going to do 15 minutes, and then I'm going to, maybe I won't stir it. I'll leave it kind of clustery. But after 15 minutes, I'm going to add 1 cup of cranberries to give it a red color. I could have added pistachios to give it some green, huh? That would have been a good idea. Anyway, I don't want to put them in the whole time, the cranberries. I don't know why. I probably could. But I'm just going to wait. In 15 minutes, I'll add the cranberries. So let me get my parchment paper on my baking sheet. And I'm just going to spread it out. I don't want to spread it too thin because I do want a little bit of clusters. Otherwise, I'm just making a muesli. It smells so good. And it tastes delicious. Yummy. So this is great to give as a gift or just to have for you over the holidays. Like I said, it smells Christmassy. You can see some of the clumps. Let me see if I can hold it for you to see. I didn't spread it too thin. I'm leaving it kind of thick there. Can you see? It's maybe 1/2 inch tall. I want it to just kind of stick together as it's roasting. And so I'm going to put it in the oven at 325 for 15 minutes. Then I'm going to sprinkle the cranberries on top and then remove it from the oven. Put that in. And it will look like this when it comes out. This one will be a little bit more clustery. I'll post a picture and show you. Let me know if you make this. Let me know if you like this idea. Also, let me know if you add different flavors or a different nut butter. Like I said, I could have made this one in the fall with pumpkin puree and pumpkin spice instead of the cinnamon and ginger and allspice and things like that. You can still do that. Christmassy is still pumpkin flavored, right? Anyway, I hope you enjoy this recipe. Have a Merry Christmas. Enjoy.